Hello and welcome to the Arena Sports Show. My name is Clauiee Grace Mpanza, and well, we've got a stellar show lined up for you today. We'll get to, of course, our usual features where we look into what's been happening in the world of sport, and then we get to Star of the Week, where we choose, of course, athletes and teams who have impressed us in the past couple of days. But joining me today is my favorite influencer, Mahlatse Mphahlele, and it's great to have you. How are you doing? We've got a new sports minister. I'm sure you're feeling great in the world of sports.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have sort of spoken about this, some for and some against. My view is that let's give the guy a chance. I see immediately after he was confirmed, he showed a picture of him in a football kit wearing boots that is ready to go.
Yeah, and he's got energy. BET awards already.
Yes.
He's already congratulating our artists, so which is pretty cool.
He's already congratulated Makazi.
Yeah.
He's energetic. This ministry needs somebody who is very energetic and
Who's lively,
sort of lively, is lively, will be able to be running around, attending matches and concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
And let's give the guy a chance and see how far he can go, because the critical issue of the sports minister also is, it's not all about the flashy stuff, attending matches and doing. It's about policy. In this country, we still have got a long way of trying to transform the sports. And I think if he can get to grips into those kinds of issues, he will have done well for himself. But I'm happy that we've got a sports minister.
You know what I like about him? He went on to say that spinning is going to be an actual sport now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, you know what, I'm all for that because
That's your thing.
Of course. Anything with cars, we're going with that. And then there's a lot that's been happening in the world of sport. Let's quickly take a look into, of course, what's been happening in terms of your headlines. The marriage between Rulani Mokoena and Mamelodi Sundowns is headed for divorce, as he has not returned to the club for pre-season after a breakdown in his relationship with technical director Fleming Berg. The pair have disagreed on transfers, training methods, introduction of young players and the route the club should take going forward. Springboks are preparing for the much-anticipated incoming series test match against Ireland at Loftus on Saturday, and coach Rassie Erasmus named an experienced squad featuring 20 Rugby World Cup. Erasmus has welcomed back Captain Siya Kolisi, Valilaroo, Cheslin Colby, Kurtley Arendse, Hanre Pollard, Marco van Staden and R.G. Snyman, who missed the win over Wales in London recently. Some Proteas players are expected in the country on Thursday from their unsuccessful attempt to win the T20 World Cup, where they lost to India in the final at the weekend in the West Indies. The rest of the squad members went straight to the US to take part in the Major League Cricket, while others have made their way to Sri Lanka to play in Sri Lanka Premier League. Well, unfortunately, Sizwe Mabena is not with us in this episode, as he's busy clicking away in PE, of course, for the COSAFA Cup. But let's quickly find out who his star of the week is.
Zambia, the defending champions, the most successful side in the group. Zimbabwe were there as the second most successful side of the group, as well as Kenya, who were the visiting side. Comoros finished top of the group with both Zimbabwe and Zambia eliminated, and Kenya going through to the semi-finals along with Comoros. So it's the second time only that the Comoros have qualified out of the group stages. So for making that little bit of history, and they also beat Zambia for the first time in their history. For making that little bit of history, I do take my hat off to the Comoros national team, and they are my player of the week.
Well, only Sizwe Mabena will commentate on a 56 seconds voice note. I absolutely love it, Mahlatse Mphahlele. But who's you? No, man, don't hate his pick. It's how he says it for me. But nonetheless, who's your star of the week?
When this guy went to the Gulf region, we all thought that he's finished. And when the coach Didier Deschamps called him for these Euros, people thought that the coach is smoking something. And it clearly shows that he hasn't lost any of the bite. He's still the heartbeat of that team. I think the good stuff they've done, most of that good stuff they've done, revolves around him. He's a key member of that side. And I think going forward, starting on Friday against Portugal, is going to be key for them. So for the way he performed, obviously from the group stages earlier in the week against Belgium, he definitely takes my player of the week. And what's your player of the week?
Oh my goodness. So Mahlatse Mphahlele is a gentleman today. All right. My star of the week is Andre Stella. He is the McLaren team principal. You know how Jose Rivera of Orlando Pirates, that coach, how calm he is and how everybody always says, but I don't see him shouting until you actually see behind the scenes. So what I was impressed with Andre is that during the last Grand Prix is how he emphasized how unhappy he was without, of course, being too harsh and just stating that what was done and how Max has gotten away with, certain things in terms of racing incidents, a lot of slap in the wrist. It's not right. And yes, we respect Red Bull as a team, but then there's certain things that need to be corrected. So I think for me, big ups to Andre Stella for standing up for Lando Norris, for standing up for the team, and of course doing it with so much class, because you can never get upset with Andre Stella. So that's my star of the week. Well, it's always great to have, of course, Springbok action, as a lot of the journalists are excited to get and interact with the Springbok players. I've seen a lot of the journalists saying that it's great to have test week, and that's exactly what we have. And we do know that Rassie Erasmus has named the squad. Mahlatse Mphahlele, talk to us about that squad. What do you think? And of course, the opposition in Ireland.
Yeah, I think it's a good squad. If you compare the squad that is named now for the match against Ireland and what he named for the match against Wales last week, it's quite two different concepts. I mean, the big guns are back now, the Sears, and so it clearly shows that we are moving into the higher gears now. And also, I mean, Ireland is quite different from Wales. This is you talk about Springbok Ireland, Springbok All Blacks, Springbok England, and to a lesser extent maybe Australia. These are the biggest rivalry in world rugby. It's the start of the international season proper now. It's a big match at Loftus. There's also quite something about Loftus in the Springboks where it will be a packed stadium. There's a lot at stake. It's a high stakes match. Two good teams. And I'm really, really looking forward to what is going to be happening at Loftus. It's a pity I'm missing the match because...
Why are you missing it? Please tell us. Pray do tell.
Well, I'll be in Durban on Saturday doing other things, riding the wave in the Durban July. But I'm sure I'll have time to watch on my phone because it's definitely one of the bigger rugby matches in the world. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm happy that Rassie is sort of also using this match as a start of this 4-year cycle leading up to the World Cup. I know along the way some players will fall off because of age and injuries and stuff, but the core group that he has now is quite a good group with a lot of young players coming through. But looking for Saturday at Loftus.
You know exactly what happens at Loftus Versfeld Stadium. Before we find out what Coach Rassie Erasmus has to say, we've got a special guest who's joining us, a man that knows all too well about dancing. Coach Dan Dance Malesela will be joining us on the flip side. But for now, Coach Rassie Erasmus.
I think the rivalry is more from the media side as from ours. I think sometimes maybe they don't 100% understand our South African sense of humor, or how we try to find something funny in anything, even when it's going bad. And sometimes gets quoted out of context. Just take the Simon Zebo as an example. I mean, the guy phoned me and he says, he was in a podcast, an old podcast, having a few beers, and he made the crack, and he said that. And he said, I know I'm repeating myself, but, just to take the last part of I say, let's spice it up. That's also that's South African humor, saying it back to Simon. So, yes, they're number 2 in the world. They've beaten us last time. We don't see ourselves as the underdogs. I don't think they see themselves as the underdogs, and I think you'll see two teams on Saturday really desperate to perform for their countries.
That's, of course, Coach Rassie Erasmus. I did say that now we bring in a special man who knows everything about dancing. He danced from being a striker, went on, of course, to be one of the best centre-backs we've seen in the country, to captain Orlando Pirates, and, of course, then went on to dance in the touchline. Coach Dan Malesela. Coach, thank you for joining us. How's the dancing at 59?
It's not big show.
I won't dance anymore. I wasn't dancing, even when I was at Baroka. Just a little sprint.
A little sprint
there
now.
and there. I'm getting too old for that. Otherwise, if I get injured, your recovery will be too long.
Yeah, no. Influencer knows all too well about the recovery. He has been dealing with problems.
I had a knee problem. It's not healing. It's not coming all right.
Exercises for that to heal quickly.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
But Coach, I mean, you talk about, of course, your time at Baroka. How have you been spending time now? I know normally this period, especially the Nedbank Cup final, that's where you used to be very busy. You celebrated your birthday. How was that birthday? Quiet, I assume?
I think it was one of the most quiet birthdays I've ever had, because I know around that time or this time, that's when I'm finding joy through something in football, particularly with the Nedbank. But it has been a trend that has been following me, that around my birthday something big happens, something new comes up, good news or something like that.
Yeah.
Funny this year, maybe because it's a leap year, you never know.
So what could possibly be coming up for Coach Dan right now?
Well, surprisingly, nothing at the moment, I haven't really spoken to anyone, but there isn't much now. It's just talks there and there and some clips that I don't even know about.
Yeah.
In the media, you're going there, he's going there, but nothing much.
He's hot to blame, by the way.
Yeah, we're the ones who speculate. He knows. He knows I call him a lot and say, Coach, what's happening? He says, no, I get a phone. So, Coach, maybe just as a follow-up, I know you're somebody who is passionate about coaching education and exploring new things. And the last time you said you are busy with a document about South African football that you're working on, trying to help young players, especially from the township. How far is that project?
Well, it's almost complete. I've changed it to a sort of a school of football. So it's almost done. It's just for people to proofread it. I've sent it to a few people that I think are influential, but I haven't received anything yet in terms of answers or replies. Surprising as well, because I think the country needs that. We need to have a situation where we have a school of football that will be modernized, and I know the school of excellence is there, but we need to move away from the school of excellence to something new and something better. So I'm just waiting. I'm worried because the hands in the parliament are changing.
In football, nothing.
Now I must resubmit the document probably. And see how far it goes.
Just to prick your brain a little bit on that, Coach. I mean, when you look into the young players of the country currently, I mean, the previous season, a lot of noise and, of course, joy that has been received from the youngsters, your Campbells, your Mofokeng, and the list could go on. What have you made of the youngsters? And do you think that we are going towards the right direction in terms of grooming these young players?
I think we are, but I think the number is rather too little. The ratio of producing players is lower than it used to be, in my opinion, because sometimes in those days you find about 5 or 6 players going, maybe because people are more stricter in terms of talent, or people are scared maybe to put in the youngsters, I don't know. But the rate is very slow. For me, it should be higher, I know the School of Excellence would probably produce about 20 players at a go,
For sure.
in one year, but now it's 1 there, 2 there, even in clubs, I remember when I joined Pirates, there was quite a number of us, younger players coming in, not that we were very young, but we were younger, than the ones that were at the club. So I just think the rate is slow. The players are looking good, promising, but the rate of producing players is very slow for me.
And then, Coach, also, If you look at global trends now, I know we South Africa have always come late to the party. Look, just for example, with the Euros, some of the players that are shining there are
very young.
Yeah, very, very young.
Very young.
Here, Mofokeng has only played 2 minutes of international football. Chandra Campbell is nowhere near the national team, and many others. Mabena at Sundowns, nowhere near. He's not playing at Sundowns that much, and it's unlikely the trend is going to continue next season. Probably he's not going to play much. Why, with your knowledge of our ecosystem, why are we not producing a Lamal, a Musiala, a player, a young player who will leave Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns straight into a Manchester City first team?
There's quite a number of things. There's quite a number of issues. One is, where are these kids training? Who is training them? Number two is, how big is our, our scouting program? How far do we go in the country? Because I know that's why the School of Excellence used to be good in terms of that, because they will go right through the country, go from Cape up. If we could go into Zimbabwe, we'll go, but we can't. We couldn't. So, but I think the scope is very small. We have minimized it too much. The other thing is that I think there's a fear. There's a big fear of introducing youngsters. There are kids who will just die out, from development structures into the MDC team and then done, because there is no time. And besides that, now there's a disturbance of this chopping and changing of coaches, because now this coach is interested in the boy, and then the coach is fired. Here comes another one. No, too young, and all of that. So there's quite a number of issues that have to do with us not producing players. The last one is, I think we want to dilute our programs too much with what is called European expertise, the experts from Europe, so-called experts from Europe and all of that. But the culture and the style of football is far different and too difficult for somebody to learn in a short space of time. Remember how many marriages have been there. Your Ajax have had that, SuperSport has had that. A lot of clubs have had marriages with European clubs or institutions. And people had, your John Cruyff institution and all of that. But did those marriages work? Yeah, but what then do we do? Let's go back home. Let's find the right people to deal with these things. People who know how to promote youngsters. Bring them up, put them in the jobs, let them produce youngsters.
Maybe as a follow-up, now let's tie it to Kaizer Chiefs now. They've tried local coaches, it didn't work for a big institution like Chiefs. As you would know, it looked like now they are going that direction now of getting an international coach. What do you make of this whole Chiefs coaching situation? The guy is bringing all sorts of people, aspects behind the scenes, assistant coaches, backroom staff. They are going to Europe for a pre-season camp, and they really have to press the reset button to see if maybe they cannot awaken this sleeping giant.
It's always going to be a task to start, because now you're not coming into a Chiefs where you are progressing. You have to start. Now, when somebody starts, they really have to know the culture, the culture of the club. South African football is not complete when it doesn't have a Kaizer Chiefs. Kaizer Chiefs plays a major role, because they have the biggest supporters in the country, even outside the country. So when you have a Kaizer Chiefs, then you have a bomb. So when somebody comes, you need to be really sure that this is the right person. How he is going to adjust without any local influence and without anybody guiding and helping as to what the culture of Kaizer Chiefs is, that may be a problem. Okay, I'm not saying the man will fail or anything, and I'm not setting him up for failure, but I'm just saying things that he should be prepared for. And also how patient are people going to be with him? You know, because you don't go to Kaizer Chiefs to try it. No, you go to Kaizer Chiefs to win. You know, appease people, one trophy there, build a team, build, you know. Sure. Now you have to have a mixture of players. You know, I come to Kaizer Chiefs, I must know I cannot go for new players completely. I must get some experience, mix it with a little bit of, you know, mid-youth there and there, but with some experience as well, little experience as well, and then start looking at the youngsters. Because the first season will be critical. Yeah. You will not even go for trials. You know, Kaizer Chiefs is like a national team. You can't be testing people at your senior national team.
For sure.
You know, you have to have ready-made people.
I want to look into the squad with you, Coach. I mean, you have given him Simango, who, of course, also passed through your hands, and you've molded him. So now when you look into Given and the rest of the Kaizer Chiefs squad, do you think that the players, the quality, they've got that?
That's the most difficult part, because if you look at the depth of the team, it's to be honest, it's limited. Yeah. You know, for instance, you spoke about Given. If he has to play, he has to play with somebody that will help him, because he may not be young, you know, for lack of a better way. But he is young in experience for a team of the size of Kaizer Chiefs. For sure. You know, you need somebody that will help you as well. You know, when you get somebody who has been playing for 2 years, 3 years, they must be really special somehow. You know, they must be able to adjust quickly. Very few players can do that. You know, so if you have a player like that and you need to help them, particularly the centre back for Kaizer Chiefs, it has been a problem for them. You know, so they need somebody to help this young man and get another one that they think can do well in case of injuries and suspensions and stuff like that. But they don't have.
For sure.
You know, and for me, I always maintained this thing of importing, you even import centre backs and what.
Not make sure.
People import stars, you know, those ones that make the team tick, you know, those ones that would really make goals for you and whatever. Defenders, you don't have to.
It's interesting you say that, because I know that part of your signing culture when you bring in players is that you ask the players around you that, guys, do you think this person is good enough to be part of the squad? And I got that from your players. From your players, Coach. Talk to us about that thinking process of involving the players in such decisions.
I only do that when some people speak about a particular player, this one is coming for assessment and stuff like that, and then the players tell me, no, we know the boy. And then I will ask them, is he good? I will ask the one who is playing in his position, is he good? And when he says yes, is he better than you? Coach, maybe you know, then I start having doubts. But I always make my own assessment, you know, after that. You know, when you have youngsters, like kids at home, how you test them, you know, your kid will say, I play football and what. I'm playing at school. And then I would ask my son and I say, who is the star at your school? And he will say, Mahlatse. And then the next one, and then, Dan, and then the next one, Clauiee, and then the next one. So you are number...
Yeah, it's a problem.
So it means you're not good enough. Then I buy cheap soccer boots. Yeah.
Coach, I just want to check something here with you while we're still on this issue. I look at our clubs now. There's a bit of a situation at Sundowns. I don't know how they're going to resolve that one. Pirates look very settled with their coach. I see they are releasing, but you know, they will bring some players in. You look at Stellenbosch, looks very settled. Chiefs, they're cooking, but you know, we'll have to see what meal they're preparing. You have got a few other clubs that looks like they may be competing next season.
I think Sekhukhune as well.
Sekhukhune as well, they've just all imported a German coach. Are you excited to say we may have a situation where maybe 2 or 3 teams going for it, maybe challenging Sundowns?
I'm still trying to find a club that I need to coach now.
That can do that.
and maybe that club will be the one that will challenge for the league honors. And you asking me about other people. Eh?
It's a bit tricky.
Look, there's a need for competition. For us to grow, there's a need for competition all round, I'm not sure whether new people into the country will do that, and then there's a mix-up a little bit at Sundowns, with the rumors flying around. Maybe it might be the time for people to challenge, but I would prefer that people challenge a healthy Sundowns, not the one that starts with problems and all of these things and, and all this news. And I'm hoping, all these other clubs will just grow up to that level. It's nice to have a person, I'm gonna say something that might alienate me from a lot of people.
Go for it.
I think we I don't know if we like these foreign names, a name like Dan Malesela would be ordinary, but if we have a Jaka Vizovic, then we get happy. I don't know why. And it is always proving us wrong, but I'm hoping, whatever you import, because when we import coaches into our country, we must not forget, we are not only importing coaches so that we can empower our club. We need to empower the country. Are these guys capable of letting the teams play good football? Are they able to produce players, from their clubs or wherever, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I have never had a situation, not once, where I've coached a club and then at the end of the season we don't lose players to bigger teams.
Improving players.
And that for me, it says something to me that you're doing something very good. That's why people are always scared. I was accused now to say, hey, I'm talking to PSL clubs to give them players and whatever. I don't have to do that. I don't have to. I actually don't associate with a lot of people. I'm always by myself and with my ordinary friends at home. I do not really spend too much time talking to football people. I don't have to do that. The clubs will see for themselves. They see for themselves. It's not me. When they appear on television or when they see them in matches, they want them. And that is not up to me. And so many times, yes, there's a times when clubs involve me with contracts and stuff like that. Then I would look into the contracts and advise, this one, it's not okay. This one is fine. But this one, improve this one, But with the last club, I didn't, and I don't know who is coming in. So I hope when we bring in people that will really empower the clubs and empower the country. Because we need to challenge for the Champions League. Sure. We need to challenge for the CAF competitions, and I once said to Tim Sugaza, I said, this thing of people saying when you go to Africa, you find these giants and all these things. I went with small boys, at TS Galaxy, and we gave people trouble and trouble and trouble. The only thing that you find that is not okay sometimes is the officiating, which must improve. And sometimes you will force people to follow your team, or to support your team, because the referees are human. When they see something good, sometimes they say, "Hey,
you can't kill this one."
And you see it's small boys, but they're doing wonders on the field. So I hope people who are coming here are looking at those things to say, what do we do for the country? How do we improve the name? It cannot be Sundowns every time going to the Champions League and and representing the country. We need more teams. We need some more. One day let's have a final.
That would be nice. So to quickly follow up on that, Coach, you look at your former club, Orlando Pirates. They've brought in Jose Rivero, and you said with Kaizer Chiefs that they need to appease with a cup here and there. And I think he's done that at Orlando Pirates, with the Nedbank Cup and the MTN 8. What have you made of him and the squad that he has? And also looking into the season ahead, do they continue? Can they actually contend this season for the league?
I've always said, pound for pound, in terms of playing personnel, I think, my opinion, I think Orlando Pirates has got the best players in the country.
For sure.
Sundowns have got very good players, if not among the best. It's just that they have a structure. That wins the league and all these things. Pirates need to develop that. They need to develop an identity of their own. The coach is doing well, is fine. But there is a need for an identity of Pirates that people would know what they're doing. I'm happy nowadays I saw them slowing down in terms of their play and all of that, because they were playing too fast for me. Now I see them, they're trying to slow down and whatever, because modern football demands that now you need to be able to think on the ball. It's not only this thing, the olden thing that used to say, you must think before the ball comes to you. You are thinking, while you are thinking, instead of the ball coming here, it comes here. So what happens to your thinking, because in seconds things change. Now you must rethink what you would, So I think they're giving them time to do that. And if they can do that, and I think, like I said, Pirates have got the best players, in my opinion.
Coach, I just want to go a bit into Sundowns. Firstly, what have you made of this whole Rulani situation? I mean, the talk is that he's clashing with the technical director. You have been in these situations before, with technical directors interfering in the coach's job in terms of players coming in, leaving, philosophies and all those things, and owners and stuff. What have you made of all this Sundowns Rulani stuff?
Well, firstly, I hope it's not true. Because I find it funny. Probably it only happens in this country, where the head coach can be can be involved in a fight or whatever. It is argument with the technical director. You cannot dictate to the coach that much. You can only advise, unless if maybe there is something that the coach has done that is just also not professional. That's when you call the coach to order. But I don't see yourself, when you have a successful team, that can build into something very, very good, and then you start creating arguments with the technical director or the sporting director. How does it even get there? There are people there. There's the club boss and all these things who can mediate, get in between these things, and all these things fall off. But I fail to understand how the technical director can say or can be above the coach. I don't understand. I don't know. If somebody was to argue with Alex Ferguson, really, who would win? If somebody was to argue with Pep Guardiola, who would win?
For sure.
But you never know. That's why I'm saying we are talking from outside, not knowing what's happening within the club.
Have you had an experience with interference and stuff?
Not really. I've always managed it. There were attempts of I don't like arguing with people. I like explaining things to them. When they ask me about problems, and why are you not playing this one? And what, I always say that, do you think that's a solution? Let's look at solutions instead of trying to argue about playing personnel and who must do this and all of that. And I try to explain situations. And most of the time, fortunately, if there were debates that will have to be won, I've won them. Most of the time, but sometimes it's interpreted wrongly. In the country, people have this interpretation, oh, he's stubborn. I'm not stubborn. I'm reasoning about things that I see every time on the field, and the experience I have with the players every time, I know them from the time they come onto the field. When we go to training, I'm the first one. I sit there and I watch the faces every time. Yeah. I look and I say, oh, it doesn't look good today. I know already. Yeah. And that's the experience you get when you work with people. Then I'll call you on the side and talk. And sometimes you don't play this player that you felt this week was not performing well because he has a problem at home. And you be taken to task for that. It's fine. It's okay. But let me explain to you why. I am not going to come to you and say, it's me, I'm the boss. Even with the technical team, I consult. What do you think, guys? I'm thinking this team and what. That's why I don't get myself into, even when I make the lineup, I will send it to the general manager, I will send it to the early hours of the morning because I'm afraid of sending it at night.
Because then
because at night
it's going to
some
be
people will know somewhere.
It's going to be
so
on Twitter.
I usually, when I'm at camp, 5 o'clock, I'm up, I'm typing the lineup, or I'm writing it manually. Take a picture, send to the chairman, send to the general manager, send to the assistant coach, send to the, But we already have a clue, as to who is it. And nobody will say anything, but in the end, he is trouble. But that's part of this game. But I don't like the situations where you have to have argument. Yeah, you have debates, discuss things cleanly.
For sure.
Make reasons, don't just say, no, man, he's a good player, he must come in. No, let's reason about his performance.
You are not even at training.
Well,
then he must come in.
Yeah. I think some of the challenges, and it's not all the chairmen, it's some of the chairmen, where in clubs where the chairmen are sitting there and they say, do the job, you'll see they become successful, But where the chairman comes in and he says, I know this player, I know. Sometimes Umotu is talking about a player that who was playing for the club 9 years ago. And now he wants to come back to the clubs. No, it's my child, it's my... You don't have children here. These are employees, these are people who must work, who must perform. And you don't know how he has changed over the 9 years. And you can't force him in. Let's look at him and see if he's still good enough. Let's check his background. Let's check why he hasn't been in successful clubs. Let's check why he's just been moving around from one club to another. Let's check all these things. And if we are satisfied, then we bring him to the club.
So, Coach, to follow up in terms of now structures, owners and chairmen, we know that in our football space that, cool drink doesn't only apply on the roads. It's basically everywhere in our football as well, where sometimes players are told that, no, if you give me X amount, I'll ensure that you're part of the team. I'll ensure that you play. Talk to us about dealing with things like that, yes, you're told that, no, Clauiee has to play. Whether you like Clauiee or Clauiee is not in your plans, but you have to make sure that she's in your squad. Talk to us about those elements of force majeure of certain players being in your squad.
Yeah, I think it's some of the things that we must get rid of. I've had a lot of situations where I was told to sign, I was asked to sign a particular player, and Arawara, and no, in exchange of this, and I've lost a lot of relationships for that, you know, because I want to distance myself. Now I want to die, Bila, you know. I don't want my hand to shake when I'm taking my spoon to the mouth, you know, because of the issues that I've done to other people and all of that. You know, sometimes I told Mahlatse, and I said, you know, sometimes I was forced. They force you, sign this man. I tell, and I say, oh yeah, now. Must we go back there?
Yeah, I know.
This one, I can bet my last cent.
Yeah.
You know, this one,
It's not going to happen. Yeah.
You know, and people forget, you know, that I'm saying this thing because I have an experience of player recruitment, you know, that runs over 9 years. You know, and plus now when I'm coaching and scouting and getting players. But I have this thing, I have done this thing for the School of Excellence. I've done this thing for SAFA, you know, where I go and identify players. You know, I used to be a coordinator, selectors coordinator for SAFA. You know, it's quick for me. I see you, you know, sometimes even when you walk, I start suspecting. The moment you come to me and you are walking fine, you know, and then sometimes I would deliberately, because I have doubts. When I see you, I'll just kick the ball away from you and say, hey, quickly get that ball, run, man. And I look at your running style and say,
But coach, on that, has there ever been a player who has proved you wrong? Where you looked and say, this one, and then he gets it and then he starts killing you?
I don't remember, man. I don't remember anyone that I've said, this one, you know. And people always want to prove me wrong. You know, they want to take this player and they want to show me. You can't. Yeah. You can't. I've got a good eye for talent, you know, and I would know if this one will be an asset. And it's worse when it comes to foreigners, because I just don't want us to be ordinary. You know, when you import something that we don't have. Yeah. You know, I cannot go and import brake pads, Toyota.
We have them.
Go Japan when we have them here. You know, so when you bring somebody as a foreigner, that's when my eyes bulge now. I need to look, you know, at every single detail of what you can do, you know, because you're an import. You're bringing something that our players don't have.
So you and Jomasono are amongst the people, when you think scouting in South Africa, that they've spotted talent. Who else, when you look into the younger talent, in terms of who has that eye? Because it's very rare to have people that can just spot talents just like that.
I think Bangova has. With the players he had at Arrows, and, you know, most of them left, you know, as soon as, you know, he went. I think he's one of the people that I can quickly say, that's why I just went. I think Mangova has got that eye, you know. And I don't know of how much of recruitment is he doing at Sundowns, but you can see with the players, probably he has an influence in that. Maybe there are some people. I think also Steve Barker has got that.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a very good eye for players, very good eye for, you know, players that we would not even imagine would be. You know, there was a player who was at Galaxy, Sihle Nduli. And when I heard he's going to Stellenbosch, I got worried. Ooh, where is he going? But, you know, the man proved me wrong, you know. I said, you know, he's going to take good care of the boy. And there's Sihle, he looked like a seasoned player, you know. So, yeah, those are the few people I can think about. You know, yeah. Maybe there are other people. Maybe I get too much.
Coach, talking about players now, coaches mostly have got loyalty to certain players. In your case, I think we all know about Xolo Mlambo. He's one of the. We actually had him here some weeks back, and you know, he also has some good things to say about you. Loyalty to players, I guess it just comes natural that if you believe in a player, you will move a mountain to ensure that this player becomes successful.
No. For me, that's not the case. For me, it's the talent that I'm loyal to. I would not be loyal to you if you're not good enough. I'll explain the Clauiee case. When he played under me, I think he will tell you that he played some of his best football. Maybe because I understood his talent. You know, and then, you know, there was just this shifting, and then he goes to play number 6 and all this thing. He is not a number 6 for me. We scored a lot of goals through Clauiee from the days I was with him at the juniors at Sundowns, you know, because I gave him more of a free role as a 10 or something like that. You know, maybe he'll double up as a little bit of an 8 sometimes and all of that. But it's the brains that I like in Namo football. And he's got a lot of brains. It's not only his academic brains, because with varsity and all, it's the football brains that he applies, you know, that I like. And I'm honest to that. I'm loyal to that. You know, very loyal to somebody who I think is going to contribute not only with his playing, but contribute to the growth of other players. You know, because with him, other players emerged, you know, around him, because that's when people started seeing other people that were not seen when I was a Chippa, you know. Andy Lembenyano was always a good player, but the combination between him and Gola Mlambo, you know, was just amazing, because they all have football brains, you know. Andy is not like Gola, is educated and stuff like that. But he's got football brains, you know, which is what a lot of our players have, you know, because our football players are like, football players are like, football players, the majority, and I understand that God doesn't give it to you like that, you know. He doesn't give you everything, you know, but he gives you something. If you don't have academic brains, he'll give you football brains, and you'll be able to negotiate football. You'll be able to understand when you're told. You know, you'll be able to grasp quicker than other people when it comes to football. You know, so I'm loyal to football, and I'm loyal to talent, and good talent with brains. The one thing I want is, for, you know, which we must do in our country, is to play with this, because we've got this. If we can instill this in our game, we'll be the best in the world.
All right. On that note, we actually roped in your son, Kolam Lambo. So let's quickly find out what he has to say of the great work that you guys have done together.
Afternoon. Coacher, I'm sending this video wanting to let you know what a great person you are, what a great coach you are, and take this moment to thank you for the role that you've played in my life, football, outside football, being the father figure that you are, the things that you taught me inside the field of play that I could apply outside the field of play, you know? So, ke batla ho leboha man for not giving up on me, for making sure that I fulfill the dream of a young Soweto boy who wanted to see himself playing professionally one day. It is because of you I've turned out to be what I am. It is because of you that I've managed to grab an opportunity to be a professional football player. Even in difficult times when I was giving you headaches, ke batla ho tlohela football before I even turned professionally. But you motivated and convinced me otherwise. I don't think if it wasn't you, I would have listened. But ke a leboha, you're not only a good coach, but you're a good human being, you're a good father figure, you're a good family man. And I pray, man, hopefully one day, if it comes to me ending my career, I end it under your wings, you know? But only God knows, and continuing doing the great that you do. The world knows, and the world have seen what type of a coach, what type of a creative, a builder you are, You have your own ways of doing things, your own style of play. You don't conform. So I command that, and I've taken that from you. Maybe I've turned out to be as stubborn as I am because of you, but for the greater purpose, you've taught me, Ore, we don't have to only do good when it's easy, but even when it's bad, we have to remain and continue doing good. So, ke a o leboha for everything that you've done and for the role that you've played. Continue being the best that you are, and I hope the world of football can appreciate you as you deserve. Akaga bacho ba re no, odese Joe. I will forever love you as a father, as a coach, and I'll forever respect you for being the person that you are and how you are. Thank you.
Well, nice words, of course, from 1010. Coach, I'm not too sure if stubbornness is something that you wanted Clauiee to pick up, because, man, we still see it even in the battles that he's going through now.
I really didn't want to teach him stubbornness, but I wanted to teach him constructive stubbornness.
Constructive,
yeah, because if you generalize it like that, then it might sound somehow to somebody. But, the truth of the matter is that I like players being independent, and being able to. I encourage players to take care of their careers. Yeah. In South Africa, sometimes a lot of the times players don't have a choice. But I always advise them, when they choose a club, they must first look at the coach, whether they'll be able to play or not. Yeah. And once you feel that this is not the right place for me, leave, because there is nothing worse than playing football, earning a good salary, and sitting on the bench. That is not the nicest, because you actually are not selling the brand, because the brand into the storeroom, who sees it? So maybe that's the stubbornness he's talking about, to say, look after your football, ask questions. When I want players to ask me questions, to say, why are we doing this? Why are we training like this today? How does it link with the game? I don't want people who sit and they do not challenge me with their careers. Even with my wife, I said, I don't want a woman who, hey Papa, when are you going to say things? When are you going to challenge me? When are you going to contribute to the family? But I created problems for myself when I said that. Because now,
Go back to Chippa when Chippa come back.
no.
Yeah, no, you can go on.
Yeah. So I like players like that, and he would do that. He would ask me. He would sit and ask me questions. But today we are doing this warm up. Why this thing?
For sure.
And I will tell him, have you seen moments in the game where you need to move there and move there? So I'm trying to create it in smaller spaces.
Quick one, Coach, on that one. Do you think that we appreciate our players? And let me tell you why I ask, because our local-based players, I look at your journey and what you've done, right, in terms of the contribution and the work that you do, and all your players speak so well of you.
Yeah.
But we still haven't seen you coach in a big club. Yes, we've seen you, win with TS Galaxy. You did so well with Cape Town All Stars. But the big three, I guess, essentially, we thought we'd always see you there, but we haven't. So do you think when you look into our players, do you think we appreciate them? Do we value them?
I don't think we actually listen to our players. Or I don't think we give them a chance, to speak as to what they want, If we did, probably the game would be better. Because players know better. They will tell you about this coach, secretly. And unfortunately, they are now, our players sit in situations where they take anything. And now it becomes spani, sako kai kai. It doesn't become, because this thing we are in the entertainment business, industry, and now when we lost spana, you're not thinking of entertaining people, because
you're not dancing.
Yeah, because you're not free. So I don't think our players are free. We have made them to sometimes to even fear football.
Sure.
Sometimes I get worried when I see our players, players in South Africa, when they kick the ball,
And when we say
I've never
this,
experienced, this season, I've never experienced so many head injuries like I did in the first division now. Because there's a player who can throw the ball from the halfway line into the box. And I was like, is it really the picture of our football? And our players, are they enjoying?
Coach, I've said here for 27 episodes now, I've said the same thing, that even in the PSL, if we are ready to be honest, the level of the PSL is not that good. And it needs to be taken a notch higher. Because, like you are saying, most of the players in the PSL don't deserve to play in the PSL. They are just not of the quality of. That's why Bafana tend to suffer so much. And that's why the Bafana coach has to take all the Sundowns players to make a good team.
Yeah.
It is a problem.
But it stems from that. It stems from how free our players, And sometimes those who are free, those who want to liberate themselves and talk and all these things, they are sidelined. They are deemed to be stubborn and deemed to be thing. I say, player, come to me, come to the office. Let's talk, challenge me. Talk about your, because I'm not here to be a dictator. I'm here to take care of your talent. I'm chosen to take care of your talent. Not only the club, but your talent as an individual first. And that's why I get so happy every time when I see, hey, my player I've coached there, immediately they want him there, and then they want this one there, they want this one there. A number of the players have phoned me now to say, hey coach, there are clubs that are looking for me. Hey, your advice, must I go there? And no, they just phoned me now, when they closed. And I said, hey, Mona, I'm scared to talk now.
Don't do it.
But I'm kidding. I will always advise, I will not, advice is not.
I think you're a father figure. A lot of the players that I've spoken to,
they need that,
they take you as a father. So I think that's why they value your opinion
because
so
I go
much.
and search for them even at night. At 2 o'clock, I look for them.
When they are doing those things, they like to do.
Start the car. I know all the places.
Coach Piso said, you must install a line at home. We call you at home. Yeah. If you not answer, your wife or your girlfriend must answer. Otherwise, you are not home. You can't lie with these cell phones. Coach, I just want to check something. I guess we're going to start wrapping up now. Maybe 2 in 1. The evolution of football. Football is a little bit, complicated now. Coaching, science, and analysis, and what, those kinds of things. How have you embraced this stuff, and also, I guess the burning ambition to coach Sundown Chiefs Pirates is still there in you?
Maybe.
Maybe he's not sure, Coach.
Look, I wouldn't mind. You just need to have let me start with the last one. I think the one unfortunate thing that I've been through is that I haven't, in my career, coached a club that has got good resources. I was talking at home to say, hey, I'm tired of this thing, because some of the club chairmen, they were very, you would hear about this club, how well they were taken care of and all these things. And then as soon as I go to that club, hey,
it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
On the scientific approach of football, it has to be. And I'm fortunate that, I will sit with a physio, I will sit with, and that's how I learn. I will listen to the doctors, or I will ask them questions about things, and I start to know things from them, to say you shouldn't do that. it doesn't come from any education. Yes, you have to go and learn and all of these things. But obviously that is not my biggest responsibility. There are people that must come in and help me with those things when I'm coaching. There are doctors, there are biokinetics and all these things, all these people that are involved with these things. And unfortunately for me, I've never had those people too much. It's just bits of times there, and I just think, and create things and start looking and say, hey, what can I do? When this is happening with a player, what do we need to do? I already know the formation of muscles to say this. The muscles on the thighs support the knee and what, and I know what exercises and all of that to do if I don't have anybody to back me up. So sometimes you need to teach yourself these things so that you don't have to wait for some class and stuff like that. And when the class comes already, it finds you way ahead of their time. So
100%. Coach, last one before we let you go. Do you think that football has been kind to you? And I ask this because a lot of people speak of your kindness and how you've given them opportunities and given them a chance to play, or you've searched for players. I mean, you spoke about searching players and actually finding them. Uxolo as well. He speaks about he wanted to give up on football a long time ago, but you forced him and encouraged him not to give up. Do you think that the kindness that you've given out, you've received it?
I think I've been too kind to football. But I don't really think I've received enough. And within all my accomplishments and all of these things in football, I was saying to somebody, I said, I'm one of the few people in the country who's got a FIFA medal, and it doesn't have any volume. I've played in the Champions League and the CAF competitions, and I've coached in them, but those things do not speak too much volume. I've probably produced more players for a lot of clubs than a lot of coaches in this country. It will not be easy for me to look at a particular club and not say there is a coach, there's a player I coach. He was not known before I met him. Now he's known because I've touched him. But I haven't really gotten the recognition, the appreciation. The best appreciation I get is to say,
That's when they're getting rid of you.
How, why, now, you don't understand, no. I don't want to say things because people will pick up. But to be honest, Clauiee, and sometimes I wanted to get disgruntled. I wanted to give up. And this football, I am a but I can't because I love this game. I can't. My biggest passion is not only about the game, actually, it's about the growth of South African football. That's my biggest passion. Because it will pain me for me to just leave and, one day I haven't become an advisor maybe to the Bafana national team coach, or I am there within the mix. And we are really creating football. But first it has to go with the clubs, because we can't get good players in the national team if we don't have them in clubs.
100%.
Yeah.
Coach, thank you so much for your time and most importantly your honesty.
Yeah.
You did not disappoint in that regard. So I was told he's a very honest man. He's not
But he didn't want to mention one name. He didn't want to mention one name. No, the name where you said people will think will know who you're talking about. We want that name, coach.
Aye. Aye.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. I forgive you.
Isn't those
But that's how we wrap up the Arena Sports Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll do it again soon. Cheers. Goodbye.